All right, in this video, we are going to work on practice problem number 1 from chapter 5 on conditional statements. It says write a program that asks a user to enter an integer, so a whole number, display a statement that indicates whether the integer is even or odd. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is to get input from the user. So I'm going to create a variable called number to store that input, and then we want it as a whole number. And then, of course, we're going to use input to get the input from the user. And then the prompt to tell the user what to do. All right, and so now what we need to do is to check to see whether or not this is even or odd. And in order to do that, right, we are going to use a conditional statement. So at the very least, we're going to have an if here. So of the 3 types of conditional statements that we talked about, the simple if statement, the if-else statement, or the else-if statement, you just kind of have to look at the problem and figure out which one works best. Here, it's going to be the if-else, because of the fact that if a number, a whole number, an int, is not even, it's odd. So it's one or the other. So we're going to do something if it's even, and then if not, then we'll do the other thing else. So the if-else is just sort of more natural here. Now, that's not to say you can't use the other types of statements, but generally speaking, one of those is going to be kind of work the best and most naturally with what it is that you're trying to do here. Okay, so what we need to do is a condition here to test to see if the variable number is even. And it turns out that the remainder operator is the best choice here. The remainder operator, right, that will give you the remainder when the expression on the left is divided by the expression on the right. And so here what we want to do is take number and divide it by 2. So if a number is even, that means it will be divisible by 2 evenly, right? It goes in and the remainder will be 0. So to check to see if a number is even, then all we need to do is to check to see if the remainder when number is divided by 2 is equal to 0. Okay, so that's the check that we want to do. All right, and so what we could do here is print a little message to say, hey, the number is even or the number is odd. So we can go ahead and do that, but I'm just going to try to make it a little simpler, and I'm just going to define a variable called word and then store the word even in there. And then I'm going to use that variable in the message that I get later. You don't have to do it that way, but it's one way to do it. So if the number is even, if it's divisible by 2, or the remainder when you divide by 2 is 0, the word will be even. And then if not, the word will be odd, right? We know right away if it doesn't pass this test here, then it's not even. So that automatically makes it odd. Okay, and so there is our conditional statement. And just to check to make sure that it's calculating things out, we'll print the value for word here. So if I enter 14, that should say even. If I enter 7, right, that should say odd. So that looks good. All right, and so far so good. So now let's make the message a little bit better by using an f string. We'll say the number is, or the number, and then actually the number that the user entered is, and then the word even or odd here. So that'll be a little bit better output. So let's go ahead and do this. So if I enter 14, get the number 14 is even. And if I enter 7, the number 7 is odd. So it looks like that is what we want here.